Greetings Exiles, I'm DonTheCrown, and I'm going to show you how I killed Awakener 8 with a 5 Chaos Sword in Tabula Rasa. This was my League starter build, and it is extremely budget friendly, and yet can handle most of the content in the game with ease. Even better, this build can easily transition into a higher budget dual wield version with barely any respecking. I'm currently looking at over 18 million Blade Flurry DPS on my dual wielder, and a guide for that will be coming soon. There's timestamps in the description for the different sections. Welcome to the 3.9 Hack of All Trades Berserker. To start, let's talk about gear and why a 5 Chaos Unique is such a great weapon. Terminus Est is available from level 51 and can carry you through leveling, maps, and even the Awakener 8 fight. Although it caps out just below 400 PDPS, this sword is nice for budget Cyclone gameplay. With a top-end crit of 8.75, it will help you have great critical strike chance even with low gear and the Berserker crit drawbacks. The 10% movement speed also fits in great with Cyclone and can help make up for some lower move speed boots. Last but not least, the mod Gain a Frenzy Charge on Critical Strike will ensure that you have maximum frenzy charges whenever you're hitting anything. This is extremely nice for bossing, and in fact makes this sword more powerful than the multiple Exalt Starforge. As you can see here, we'll change this Terminus Est to give us minimum frenzy charges. This gives us a better idea of boss damage, since it would be hard to generate frenzy charges with a Starforge against a boss. Compared to a perfect Starforge, Terminus Est is better for damage, which is insane considering how expensive and difficult Starforge is to acquire. Now, I call this a 5 Chaos sword, not because the cheapest version of it is 5 Chaos. In fact, Ninja prices this sword below 1 Chaos, but instead 5 Chaos should get you some great rolls. I managed to get a perfectly rolled physical damage and high crit version of this for just 5C, so you should be able to get similar. Now, it might be tempting to buy a 6-link version of this sword for less than half an Exalt, but I'd recommend focusing on good rolls. A weapon is the focal point of a melee build, and you want your rolls to be good. Besides the Terminus Est, the only other major requirement for this build is either 2 -3 mana cost of channeling skills crafted across your rings and amulet, or 6-link chest with a Delve Fossil mod. Socketed attacks have -15 mana cost. The rest of your gear you want to maximize life while also getting your elemental resistances capped and your chaos resist as close to the cap as possible. Chaos Resist is very helpful against metamorphs, and the Awakener fight does have some heavy hitting chaos damage as well. Notable mods to look out for are attack speed or physical damage on gloves, movement speed on boots, physical damage taken as an element for helmets, physical damage on rings and amulets, and crit multi on amulets. Speaking of amulets, I recommend anointing Titanic Impacts by taking your amulet to Cassia along with an Amber, Verdant, and Opalescent oil. This should cost you about 10 Chaos and is a great pickup in terms of damage. Lastly, if you want to use a high level infused channeling support, you're going to need to pick up a bit of intelligence, likely on your jewelry. For jewels, try to get at least 2 lines of crit multi and life or attack speed. But this build really doesn't have much space for many jewels. For flasks, it's really important to have a diamond flask and a lion's roar. Besides that, you want suffixes that cover freeze, bleed, and curse immunity. For mapping, having a quicksilver flask of adrenaline is really nice. Rotgut could even be a good option because we'll be generating tons of frenzy charges for it to consume. Next, let's talk about skill links. Our primary damage is going to be Cyclone, Melee Fizz, Brutality, Impale, Fortify, and Infused Channeling. If you're a little bit low on intelligence, you can swap out Infused Channeling for Pulverize, but I definitely recommend Infused Channeling for higher tier content. I also recommend keeping Fortify in your main links since we want to have nearly 100% uptime on Fortify to boost both our survivability and to gain some damage from our passive selections. For auras, we'll be reserving a large amount of our mana with Pride, Dread Banner, Flesh and Stone Link to Maim, and Precision. Since Precision's mana cost increases with level, you want to find the gem level that fits your particular mana pool. Just make sure that you have enough mana remaining to use your other skills. Speaking of other skills, for movement we'll be using Leap Slam, linked to faster attacks and blood magic. It's really important to have blood magic on your movement skill so you don't find yourself out of mana to attack or even move at any point. I also recommend a Vol double strike setup linked with chance to bleed at least, and maybe a few other damage granting supports. I also include an Ancestral Warchief totem in my overall setup. Blood Rage will also increase our attack speed, but we're already generating frenzy charges, so we don't lose much if we don't want to activate it on low or no regen maps. Enduring Cry can be good for some endurance charge generation. However, if you find it's too much micromanagement, then adding endurance charge on melee stun to Leap Slam works as well for mapping. I use a cast when damage taken curse setup. For lower tier content, Assassin's Mark is great for power charges and damage, but if you want another layer of defense, switch to Enfeeble. For guard skill, I use Steel Skin, mostly because it protects for a larger amount than Molten Shell, since I have less than 10,000 armor. Note that you'll want a high level version of your guard skill that is not linked to cast when damage taken. I tend to activate mine right as I feel like I'm about to take damage, or on cooldown against metamorphs. Lastly, Berserk is a great last resort damage and defense booster that can really help out with bursting down metamorphs or bosses. Here's my recommended passives for level 90. I've included some additional passive trees in the path of building. Just click here to select the tree that you want to look at. Some notable sections to mention on the tree are the 2 impale wheels. Take both of these so that you have a 100% chance to impale. I also recommend this fortify wheel as it provides a lot of nice perks, including 20% increased fortify effect, which is effectively 4% less damage taken. I also take this blind wheel because with our extremely fast attack speed, we'll be able to keep blind on any tanky target indefinitely. Blind basically makes it so that half of all melee attacks will miss. For Ascendancy, we're going Berserker because it provides a lot of damage and speed. Going Zoom Zoom feels really great, and Berserker really isn't as squishy as people think as long as you stay away from Aspect of Carnage. Here's the order I took the points in. Flawless Savagery provides some good low-level buffs, then Crave the Slaughter provides more rage generation while leveling. Blitz and Rite of Ruin help turn the attack speed dial all the way up to 11. And the degen from Rite of Ruin isn't even that noticeable unless you're on a no-low regen map, then you'll likely be sucking down health flasks. Also for Bandits, I helped Alira, but you can switch to helping None if you want the extra passive points. Lastly, for leveling, I'd recommend starting off with Perforate into Bladestorm and then finally Cyclone. At level 22, look to pick up an Edge of Madness, which should carry you to level 51 when you can equip a Terminus Est. I also focus on a lot of extra attack speed on the leveling tree, since a large majority of the leveling experience is just traveling around with Leap Slam. To help with that, you can link your Bladestorm with Rage and Close Combat supports. When you leap into a pack, you can Storm and leave right away. Anything that doesn't die instantly will be hit by your Storm, which will then generate Rage, and Close Combat will accelerate your Leap Slam. Well, that's it for the guide. Wait. At the start of the video, I said, I'm going to show you how I killed Awakener 8 with a 5 Chaos Sword in Tabula Rasa. Well, here it is, Awakener 8 with a Tabula and Terminus Est. Note that when I actually killed Awakener 8 for the first time, I was using slightly better gear than what you see in this video. I had purchased a set of Celestial Justicar cards for the 6-link Astral Plate, and after one use of serrated pristine fossils, I had a nice life and minus mana cost chest. What you see in the POB is the actual gear that I killed Awakener 8 with for the very first time.